I'm the product line manager for Pod and PC products, and talking about the Pod line, we have the original Pod in its newest incarnation, the Pod 2.0, and then we have the next generation Pod technology, the Pod XT, which we actually have one here, and the newest edition is the Pod XT Live, which is the built for the stage but perfect for the studio incarnation of the Pod. The Pod is really the best way to record electric guitar, simply put. Rather than having to set up microphones and rely on the kinds of things that you would to actually mic up a guitar cabinet, the Pod gives you a quick, easy way to record without all the hassle of actually doing that, with the added obvious benefit of having at your fingertips a massive collection of amplifiers and speaker cabinets, and in the latest Pod line, vintage modeled effects, both Stompbox and studio effects, that can all just be instantly called up as if they are completely set up and mic'd up in a professional recording studio. Before the Pod, you really had to either set up an elaborate setup to record your electric guitar, or you had to settle for something that just didn't sound very good. And I think that the thing that really set the Pod apart is that not only was it really easy to use, really convenient, and gave you an endless amount of flexibility, but it really, really sounds amazing. It totally delivers on the promise of excellent recorded tone. We make amplifiers, and in order to really be able to capture the sound of vintage tube amps and this kind of thing, we all the people who work on this stuff, we're purists as well. We love the stuff. We all have collections of vintage amplifiers in our own closets, and I'd say that it's most people, you can when you max out the Pod and you take advantage of all the things that we have to offer, it's a collection of 72 vintage amplifiers paired up with, actually it's vintage and modern amplifiers, but it's a real amazing gallery of gear, and it's really preserving that tone and delivering that tone to the masses in a really easy to use. You no longer have to listen to demos that people do in their bedroom with bad guitar sound. There's just no excuse anymore. We're paying homage to the older sounds, and to the newer sounds, we're bringing it in a different package and a different form factor, because you can still spend that kind of money and go out and buy that kind of rig. You'll have one sound, and and it's a very different kind of thing. It solves a different problem than the Pod does. We also, a lot of times what we'll hear from people in talking to artists and what have you, they'll be doing their demos, and for convenience they'll use the Pod for their demos, but they're going to go back and replace it with real stuff later, and actually what happens is either they can't get a sound that they like as much when they try to use the other equipment, or it just sounds so good, what's the point? And so that's how a lot of times the Pod will end up on the recording, not necessarily because they intend it that way, but because they use it for another reason, and it sounds great and they're satisfied with it. I think it's important to have the experience of micing up real amps and or I should say vintage tube amps and this kind of thing, just to kind of have that perspective. But when you're in the studio and you're on the clock, and you don't want to be paying for first of all, you don't want to be spending the studio time and the money to try and mess with actually setting up and recording amps, when you can do something so quickly with the Pod, because it's not only a matter of time and money, but it's a matter of inspiration. When you're inspired and you're going to record something, you really want to capture that immediately. We received a MIPA, that's the Most Innovative Product Award, which is voted on by a large selection of magazines for the most innovative bass effect, and so this is the Bass Pod XT Live, and so what this is it's the bass version, so it will connect digitally to a bass Variax, or you can plug any bass into it, and it offers you a huge selection of not only modeled effects, but modeled amplifiers and cabinets for bass players.